And now we're going to bring in a good friend of mine, former president of the United States of America, Ronald Reagan. Former President Reagan, how you doing, my friend?
Wait a minute, Curt. Hold on. Oh, I just love that kind of music. Well, how are you, Curt?
Well, for Saturday afternoon, Dave, in beautiful Sarasota, Florida, an area that I know that you're very familiar with.
I love it down there.
You spent some time here, absolutely.
Well, yes, a good friend of mine, Dave Brannan. He's comedy impressionist, but he lived in Bradenton and Sarasota for 2 years, from 03 to 05. And you know what he told me, Curt? He said that when he was there in 04, they had 4 hurricanes in a row, and as soon as he left for Las Vegas, you haven't had one since. What did he do?
I think that he took the weather with him, former President Ronald Reagan.
Well, by the way, I was listening during the broadcast. I love what Leo was talking about, especially when he's talking about our beloved Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And as you know, I have contacts in Las Vegas, Nevada, the best sports, we call them bookies out here.
Yeah.
Well, that's Las Vegas for you.
Well, you've got to have all the heavenly input too, right? Being from the big White House in the sky, right?
Oh, yes. I'll tell you what, Grover Cleveland Alexander, he was, him and I were talking the other day. Well, Tricky Dicky Nixon butted in, but, that's just the Dickster. But Grover Cleveland from Ohio.
Right.
He really is hoping that Ohio State can beat those pesky Penn State Nittany Lions.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think that's, and I'm specializing in, tomorrow's Week 10 games, but I think Ohio State will beat them. But I think, as you know, the Gipper.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think Notre Dame has a tough test against Utah, but I think the Irish are due. So that's all I'm going with on the college.
Sure.
Let's talk, if you don't mind, Curtis, the Buccaneers. They're playing 1-7 Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's going to be a romper for our Bucks.
And the Buccaneers, check President Reagan, the Carolinas only scored 88 points in 8 games. They're only averaging 11 points a game, and you can see why they're 1-7. This is a game that the Bucks have to win.
Oh, absolutely. Now, as you know, Matt Moore, the Carolina quarterback, he's out for the season.
Yes.
And they've got this rookie, Jimmy Clausen.
From where?
He's good.
Where's he from?
I
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
That's right, President Reagan.
Yes. Oh, I wanted him.
There you go again. You know that, right?
Well, there I go again.
Yes.
But anyway, I think it's going to be. Here's my forecast. We'll move on. It's going to be the Buccaneers in a romp. I've got 30-9.
What do you have for a spread on that game, President Reagan?
Well, the spread is -7.
Okay.
Buccaneers.
You're going to lay the 7 points.
I'm laying the 7 points. Yeah, Carolina stinks. Well, that's what I think anyway.
Well, I'll take your word for it. I'll agree with you. I'm going to write these down. So next week when he talks to you on the show, we'll make sure that, because I don't think you did very well last week, President Reagan.
No, I only had 3 picks, and all 3 of them, well,
they lost, in other words.
But let me just say, on the Bucks, I'm seeing the weather's in the high 70s. It's clear. A great day for the Buccaneers.
Now, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Don't you know Johnny Carson?
Oh, Johnny's sitting right here next to me.
What does Johnny think of the Buccaneers game tomorrow? Can you grab him real
Johnny, quick? Wait, he's right here. Johnny, what do you think the Bucks' odds are? Is that you, Curt? I couldn't wait to get a word in edgewise.
Well, that's why I brought you in, Johnny. You're my favorite late night show host, and I miss you on the air. I don't like these guys, Conan. I don't like that idiot. What's the guy with the weird chin that replaced you?
Oh, you mean Jay Leno?
Yeah. You didn't hear that from me though.
I always liked David Letterman better.
I agree with you 100%, Johnny.
But going with the Bucks,
yes.
I believe the Bucks could still possibly win their division. However, they've got to fight those dirty birds, the Falcons.
Again, yep.
But the Falcons are looking good. But I believe, and I was listening to you and Leo with former President Reagan, and we believe that a wild card, very, very possible for the Bucks if they don't win their division.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Now, does President Reagan have a second pick he wants to give us, Johnny?
Ron, you've got. Oh my golly, he sure does. Hold on one second.
Okay, I appreciate it, Johnny.
Yes, Curt.
Hey, President Reagan, thanks for coming back.
Well, Johnny, he wanted his say, and
Yeah.
that was his take on things.
You know how those night show hosts are, President Reagan.
Oh, they're mouthy, wordy. But Johnny is right next door in the big Tonight Show, and this guy,
exactly.
He's got a wealth of guests up there on his own level.
Yep.
By the way, Mommy, well, Nancy, she says, howdy doody.
Oh, hey, Nancy, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Yes, well, we've got everyone here. Tricky, we've got a big fan base here.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Now, my second pick.
Yes.
And I'm going to go with someone you love dearly.
Yes.
Those Minnesota Vikings.
Wow, you're going on a limb, huh, President
Well,
Reagan?
here's the thing about the Vikings. Brett Favre, he should have retired a year ago. But that's just my opinion. But as you know, it's Minnesota, the Vikings at 3-5, versus the Chicago Bears at 5-3.
And I have that game as a 1.5 points. Bears are favored by 1.5. The over/under is 40.5.
Well, yes, 40.5 is the total. Out here in Las Vegas, we've got the Vikings -1.
Okay, the line's moved to the Vikings then.
Yes, exactly. And the forecast here is Bears 21, Vikings 17. I think it's going to be closer than that with the spread. So I'm going with the Vikings with the spread of -1. It's going to be a great game.